Welcome to the Shortwave Radio channel. And one of the things that I get asked a lot because, I have a changing pattern in when I'm doing some radio. And often what I do is I will be using this radio for a certain time. I'll be changing to another radio. Right now here on the desk, I've got, if we look at it here, I've got the 501, H501 Texan, but I've got, the Celadon D808 here. I've got very handy Texan PL368 or Conicom GP7 SSB, same radio, by the way. And one of the other aspects of this, and it's the SDR. And for example, I'm going to show you what I see. So my SDR is, so let me just go here. We'll put it here on the screen. So here's the big screen. So the big screen looks like a mirror that's going far, far, far in the future. So this is what I have. I have now AirSpy HF Plus Discovery there. And of course, that immediately brings to a lot of people the question of, oh, so you now favor that over the SDR Play, for example. And it's not a question of, interesting, cool pattern it did there. So it's not that I necessarily prefer one over the other in most of the time. It's more of I like change. It's part of how to stay in your hobby. We see it all the time. If you want to be in a hobby of radio, diversify your listening. If you want to enjoy radio for years and not get bored, change things around, move things around, change the radio. In my case, this is what it is. Change what radio you're using. So I have a tendency to be using one specific radio for many weeks in a row. But then I one day just get up and it's like, no, okay, I like to use that one. Or an example is the SDR Play RSPDX was on that big screen that you saw. And it was there for years. Actually, I probably have a couple of years since it's been the same. And I was using the AirSpy HF Plus on my laptop. And some point I thought, how about switching things around? Put the RSPDX on the laptop, put the AirSpy on the big screen. And that's why when I make videos, like with SDRs, I often favor that laptop with the big screen, which is a mini PC, actually, not a laptop. And it's not because I favor one over the other necessarily. It's just, changes. I see something else. It's like a fresh coat of paint. Feels like your house is brand new. You change the room. Move the things around. Change your radio. Instead of being on this wall, how about putting the radio on the other wall or near a window, and change things around. That is also part of how to keep radio alive, by switching things around. So I'll have a favorite radio. I'll call it the favorite radio, which is not exactly the correct term that I want to use. And then I'll be, jumping on another radio for a while. So I have the X501X, the H501X, sorry, here. But this one has been here now for what? A couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. It's not going to be there all the time. I'll be changing it at some point. I'll be like, okay, what other radio can take its place here, and I'll play around with that and just have fun. It's all a question of mostly changing things around a little bit and enjoying. Also, I like to kind of do a rotation of the different radios. So at the same time, it's part of the reason you don't get bored is not only are you tuning around the bands, but you're tuning around the bands with a different device from time to time. Feels fresh, feels different. And each radio has its, positive, negative points. Each radio has its little quirks that it's like, oh, I like this one for that reason. Or I don't, or, whatever. So, but it's part of all just the experiment of listening. I don't, if you tell me which one I prefer between the HF Discovery, the AirSpy HF Discovery and the RSPDX, in general use, if I use the same software, let's remove the things that I are different that I don't like. Let's put all together. For me, same thing. It's just that I use one with SDR Uno, which is a different software, looks different, feels different. The other one I use it with the SDR console, and but in terms of performance, I don't see much difference. They are both sensitive and both great SDRs. They do have differences. There are, of course, things that I like more. So when I get a question of, oh, well, you decided to use that one because it's better. No, it's just I'm using that one now. That's it. But, each one has its positive and negatives. If I want to listen to VHF, UHF stuff, I'll go on the RSPDX. It has a wide band up to 2 gigahertz. I can listen anywhere on any mode. So definitely will be the one I'll choose for that. The AirSpy doesn't go that high. So it depends on what I'm listening to. And at the same time, you see the little quirks and you see the performance and you notice things. This one might be better for that purpose than another. And on an SDR, the software is also very important. I think we all have the software we like or don't like. It's part of the game. And the radios, there are radios you like, radios you don't like. Some radios could be real good, but the controls can be awkward. And you might not feel that it's as fun to use, even though performance is there. You might feel that it's easier to use another one. And there's always the adapt, because that's the other funny thing about using multiple radios is you use one that, the volume control's on the right side all the time. And then you end up using another one and, the volume control's on the left. And you kind of hesitate for a moment because it's like, okay, no, this one's here. Or this is where the BFO is, or the fine tuning is, or this is how it works. There's also the memory thing. One of the reasons I like to switch radios regularly is not to forget certain features and certain things that you want to do with a radio. When you don't use a radio for a long time, each radio being built differently, having its features turned on or off or used differently, you can forget, how to switch that radio in a mode or do something, or how do I get the fine tuning, or so it enables me to kind of keep fresh with all the, this one works in this way. I forgot, because these radios are, complex, and I get that comment all the time. It's like, well, these radios are complicated. And it's something that we have to not to forget when you are used to playing with radios. Some focus on the usability. There's a couple of you out there that not only look at the radio and the performance, but you look at the radio and the actual use, the ones that are more ergonomic or better thought of in terms of where the buttons are positioned and where to use different features, punch in frequencies. We have quite a few people that have visual disabilities, and that the way the radio is built can make a world of difference on making it user friendly or just a radio out of hell. So, and that's something we overlook. A lot of us overlook. I overlook a lot of that on different radios, because when you're not disabled in any way or minimally disabled, I wear glasses, and when things are very small, I have a hard time seeing them. So there's a radio that I talked about how things were too small. Well, it's part of making the radio fun to use or not. But for the most part, that's it's a minimal thing, because I don't have obviously the disabilities that some of you have that make it harder, much harder, to use the same hardware the same radio, the same software, using a computer. And that's something that I will often overlook. But I will get comments from people saying, I'm blind, or I've got a hard time seeing, or I've, had some medical condition that makes it difficult for me to use my hands or do something. And it's interesting because I do get, and I like these types of comments of people that are different that will tell me, that radio I don't like because I have this disability, and this radio is built in such a way that it's hard for me to use. And that definitely is something. I mean, it's like the features of when we see people saying, I wish the keypad would be lighted at night, that you could turn on the light and see all the buttons. Definitely. There's not a lot of radios built like that, but the ones that are, you immediately notice, and you immediately find that it's kind of nice to have that feature. So, it all depends also on all of us. We're all different. And even if you're not disabled, we are different in the way we proceed and do things. So, so I like to just, go around the radios mostly. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe. Give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.